Hi guys, this is going to end up being station 2. We are talking about symbolic review, and this is just to make sure everyone remembers conjunctions, disjunctions, truth tables. Just remember, conjunction stands for the word and we use the and symbol to represent that, the capital A without the bar. A disjunction, remember, means or, so this is and, this means or. And then conditionals are if-then statements. We use the arrow to the right, and then our negation symbol, which means opposite, is the tilde sign. Now, you need to remember you memorize the truth tables, but remember, I'm going to give you a quick review. You only really have to know a special case of each one. Like for a conjunction, okay, the only time it's true, so the only time it's true is if you have true and true. That's going to equal a true value. So remember that. Anytime you have true and true, it's true. Otherwise, the rest of them are always false. Now, a disjunction, the only time it's false is if they're both false. So you have to have a false or false statement in order for it to be a false value. And remember, a conditional statement, the only time a conditional statement is false, and we talked about this with the dating relationship examples, is if you have a true hypothesis but a false conclusion, and that gives you a false value. So just remember, if you memorize those three things, you probably have a very good job of working with it. Also, I want you to remember, you cannot distribute negation symbols. This is not a property of logic, okay? You cannot naturally go, oh, everything is negated. No, they're not equivalent values, all right, validity-wise. I could do a truth table and explain it, but a little more time than I want to spend. This is not true. This got several people. Now, I'm going to go through, and I'm going to work through these problems real quickly from the quiz. Some of you can probably fast forward a little bit and just go to the parts that you need. But before you're done, I want to make sure that every person does this last part of your extra practice. But first of all, let's get going on here. Here's what was on the quiz. Now, here's the thing I want you guys to remember. Always make sure you read the directions. Make sure we have all that done. So A, B, and C are true statements. X, Y, and Z are false statements. Determine the truth value of the following compound sentences and compound statements. Now, most of you were very good at starting off, and I always told you put in some values, and you guys did. On here, this one's not, that I have true and false, or I have here Z, it's just false. Now, I have to do inside my parentheses first. This is where a lot of people went wrong. They distributed. Don't do that. Here I have not true and false. Since it's and, is false. So I get this negation of false, which now gives me true or false, which now becomes true. Not too bad, is it? So make sure you show your work. The key thing is don't distribute the negation symbol. That does not help. It will not be the right value. All right, this next one I have not B, then C, and the quantity X or Z. So what I have on this one, so not B, so I end up having not true, then true, and then I have here false or false. So I'm going to do inside the parentheses. Not true, then true, that's going to be false, then true. Now false or false is, that's right, false. And so when I have a false, then true, that is going to be a true statement. And then I keep the false here, and then I go left to right here. True and false is false. All right, our next one, I have not A, so that's going to be not true, then not false, then C is going to be true. So in this case, it's going to be a false, then true, then true. Okay, false, then true is still true, then true. All right, so false and true is true, and then true. So true, then true statement obviously is true. Okay, now let's make sure we read our directions. Problems for 13, 15. It says, let A represent angle 1 as an acute angle, let Z represent angle 2 as a right angle, and let P represent angle 3 as an acute angle. So these are going to be our legends. So now I want you to also tell me if it's valid or not. And here's the number one error people didn't do. How about reading directions? You have to be able to do the symbolic form of this, translate into symbols, and tell me the validity. So the very first one here is angle 1 or angle 3 is an acute angle. Well, if angle 1 or angle 3 is an acute angle, that lets me know that's going to end up being A or P. So that's my translation for that. But now what is that value going to be? Well, that's true or false. Well, that validity is, you always choose the true one, so it's true. Look at the next one. If angle 2 is a right angle and angle 1 is an acute angle, comma, grouping symbol, then angle 3 is not an acute angle. So the very first thing it goes, if angle 2 is a right angle, so I got Z, and angle 1 is acute angle, A, then, because I always think of, remember, commas mean parentheses, then angle 3 is not an acute angle, so that'd be not P. So that would be your symbolic form with that. So now if I plugged in the values with this, I have true and true, then not false. So I have true and true, which is true, then not false, which is true. Oh wait, that's a true value. So not too bad on that. Pretty good. All right, let's keep going on this next one. Angle 2 is a right angle, implies angle 3 is an acute angle. Remember, implies is the then part of a conditional statement. So that's going to give us angle 2 to 3. What is that one over here? That's Z, then P. Z, then P, which is going to be if true, then false, which is going to be what value? Yep, false. Good job. Now, let's go ahead and be able to go the other way. Do the verbal translation of this. It says, then state if it's validity. Guys, I don't know how many people had problems. Remember, put the validity down. Follow all the directions when you work with these. If not X or Z, well, that means I negate X. Roses are what? Not red. So very good. Roses are not red. Or poison ivy is useful. Excellent. So now what's the validity of this? Okay, that's going to be not true or false. So that's false or false. That's a very invalid statement. It's false. Now look at the next one. It's a conditional statement, okay? But remember, I'm going to have a comma right here, and that's a grouping symbol with that. So what do I have first? If, what's Y? Violets are blue, then poison ivy is useful, or, what do we get here? Or roses are red. All right, so if violets are blue, then poison ivy is useful, or roses are red. So if I put this in, what do I have? I've got true, then I have here, what is the next one? Z? Oh yeah, that's going to be false, or what do we have? I do believe true. So the cool thing is, I do inside the parentheses first. Well, that's going to end up being a true statement. So false or true is true. So then true is true. All right, not too bad. And then last one is X and Y. Well, X is roses are red, and violets are blue. And what does that tell me? That's going to be a true and true, which is true statement. Okay, now I'm going to stop the video here. So I want you to stop and try the two examples, okay? Now stop and try the two, this is going to be the 3 examples, make sure I use the right number, the 3 examples, and then watch the second video, so part B for this, and check to see if your answers are right.